Just like to thank the Raider fans for their support. Disappointed in the outcome of the game, but I'll be happy to answer any questions I can.
Was Howie satisfied with your description of the game?
Yeah, it was great to talk to Howie. Yeah, it really was. He's a good friend, and it's good to get his insight and talk about some things.
You made some changes on defense. You put a lot of new guys in yesterday. From looking at the tape, how do you think those guys fared?
I wouldn't say we made a whole lot of changes. We tweaked some situations. Obviously, we still have a ways to go, and we're going to get back to work tomorrow. We're putting together our game plan for the 49ers, and we've got to collectively play much better.
It's been fairly week to week what some players' role on defense is. A guy like Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie can be starter, then no defensive snaps. Gary on no defensive snaps into a starter role. That type of week-to-week fluidity, do you think it can be difficult for a player's confidence and comfort in the defense?
It can be. It could also be an excuse. It can be a lot of things. We're looking for more consistency. We're looking for somebody to step up, not only on game day, but during the week. And it's a situation where we picked up Cromartie, as you know, late in this process, right before the first regular season game. And Worley was out the first 4 games with a suspension. So that has a lot to do with the fluidity. Nick Nelson has been hurt. He's healthy now. So we're still working through who are the best corners, who is the best combination for us in every situation, and hopefully we can settle on it soon.
When Paul Gunther had said last week, and then it was echoed by Darryl Worley post-game yesterday, they thought that last week's practice was as good as they had had all year on defense. That being the case, how do you, not justify, but how do you account for the way it went?
Well, it just wasn't good enough. I'm not going to sit up here and say it much more. We've got to do a better job collectively getting off blocks, staying in the right gap, and making physical tackles and knocking them backwards. And those are areas that it's hard to practice live. It's hard to practice against the exact look you're going to see at full speed, as you know, but we are practicing well. We are practicing hard. Guys are on the details. I don't know exactly why Indianapolis had that much success. I do give them a lot of credit, but we got to go back to the drawing board and solve this quickly.
You said you tweaked some situations last week. Does the schedule this week allow you to do the same amount of tweaking, or are you just?
No, we're not going to be able to do much. I think the game is in 48 hours, so we got to be smart about our preparation, and let's do the best we can to get the right people on the field, the guys that deserve to play the most.
Bruce Irvin hasn't. His percentage of defensive snaps is around 30%. That's lower than in recent seasons. Is there a reason why he's not on the field as much? Is he only in certain packages? Are you disappointed with his performance?
Well, he's tweaked his shoulder a little bit. I think that has a little bit to do with it. Obviously, when someone's running the ball as effectively as they were yesterday, you don't get in any of the mixed down pass rush situations where Irvin is most effective. So I think that combination has a lot to do with his numbers being down.
What's your confidence level that Kelechi can suit up this week?
I'm getting more confident. I was really pleased to see him on the practice field last Friday. He got some work in. I think he's getting closer, but we'll know a little bit more tomorrow, obviously. He's been someone we've really missed, but I do credit John Feliciano for playing well yesterday. I was really pleased with our line. After not playing particularly well collectively in London, that group of 5 really responded and played well for us yesterday.
You guys placing Clemens on IR this week, or what's his?
I believe that'll be the case. It's a serious knee injury, and it's another big loss for us. He was a guy that was a swing tackle for us, backing up both positions. He was a veteran, been doing a good job, came in and helped us in Miami, so that's a big blow for us.
You mentioned the line. What else did you see on offense? You guys were in sync yesterday, probably the best you've been in a while. But what was the things you saw on film?
Well, I think it all starts with pass protection and just balance. We had some good runs from Doug Martin. I thought the run blocking was better collectively. I thought, we used Derek Carrier, we used Keith Smith creatively a few times, got them involved in the game. Derek played well, had time to see the defense, had time to get through his progressions, and I thought we had 4 or 5 really good drives. Unfortunately, we didn't see the ball enough.
Do you anticipate Justin Ellis will return to practice this week?
I don't know about this week. I know Eddie Vanderdoes has a chance to make his debut against the 49ers. Justin Ellis is a guy we really miss. Obviously, we re-signed him quickly in free agency to make him a big part of this run defense. But I don't know that he'll be back any sooner than Arizona, honestly.
What did LaFell bring to the offense, having him out there as much as
He's a good player. He's been in a Super Bowl. He's been productive as a Carolina Panther, as a Patriot. He's been productive as a Bengal. He's a pro. He's a big guy. He can run after the catch. He can block. He's detailed. He's tough. Every quarterback I think that's played with LaFell likes him. They count on him. They trust him, and that's a big arsenal of things to like.
Have you had a chance to look at the 49ers at all yet, or were you
Yeah.
looking at?
Yeah, sure did. Obviously their one-loss record is not where they want it to be, but I give Beathard a lot of credit. He is one tough quarterback. He is a tough kid. I've seen him get hit and keep playing hard. They got a creative offense under Kyle Shanahan. They can score points, and they can run the football. That I do know. And defensively, they've got a lot of high first-round picks in that front, and it'll be a challenge for us.
Jon, facing the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan over there, you got another one of your Chargers that is out there that's kind of become a bigger name as in the coaching fraternity. But 2004-05 on your staff in Tampa Bay, you had him, Raheem Morris, your brother, Mike Tomlin, Joe Woods. What about that time period there for you was special?
It was just a great group of guys, a brat pack. I always had taken pride in hiring young coaches that love it, that have some passion for the game, that are good communicators, and that was a fun time. That was a fun time for sure. And I remember Mike Shanahan calling me, asking me if I'd be interested in hiring his son. I thought it was an honor to have Kyle on my staff. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep him long enough.
Did those guys working together in the woodshed, did that help?
Yeah, that was great. We had a lot of fun back in those days. The woodshed, I called it. People are going to take me to the woodshed here pretty soon if we don't get this thing going. But, again, I'm proud of our offense. I'm proud of our team for coming back yesterday. We just got to keep grinding and keep pushing, and I'm sure Kyle's going to do the same thing.
How do you evaluate Doug Martin's performance? He seemed to have some good runs, but the fumble obviously.
Yeah, he's a good player. He had to fumble. Obviously, that will be remembered by a lot of people, and rightfully so. But what a performance he had yesterday. He picked up a couple blitzes. He ran with authority. He can catch the ball. Got a great stiff arm still, and he still has a lot of life in his legs. He's a good back, and he and Richard and Washington will have to carry us here down the stretch, but happy Doug is here.
Did not having Marshawn and the first game with without Amari force you to be creative in ways that were beneficial?
I don't know. I think we've tried to be creative. I think anyone will tell you, the injuries on the offensive line, multiple injuries really at left guard, right tackle, can stymie you, can make things tough on everyone. And an 11-hour flight can make things even doubly hard. But I'm not going to say anything other than yesterday we had a good rhythm. We were able to finish some drives. And I think Derek Carr showed you what kind of quarterback he is when he gets legitimate pass protection and has some balance, and that was exciting.
Coached in the Raider Niner game before. Is there something extra special about team's players?
Yeah, at least for me it is. It's Battle of the Bay. I remember Tim Brown catching a pass in overtime to beat the 49ers. I still have great memories of that game. My man Janikowski, I think I went to him on second down. He missed a field goal. That was a fun day in the Candlestick Park. The wind was blowing. Fans are great. I wish the game, had 2 8-1 or 7-1 teams playing in it. hopefully someday soon you'll see a game like that. But this is still going to be fun for the fans and fun for both teams.
How did you see Reggie Nelson respond to the decision to make him inactive?
Yeah,
yesterday?
great. You know, I think he's a great teammate. He's an unselfish guy. That's the one thing I'm proud of with all of our veteran players that we have here. You know, they've been unselfish. They've shown some character, a lot of character, some mental and physical toughness, and hopefully our young players can wrap their arms around that and learn from it. But it was tough. And I'm sure on him, it was tough on our team.
The short week, how do you balance dealing with the trade deadline stuff coming tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the phone calling around for trades. You know, you never know who's going to call. You never know who's going to call or what the call will entail. But the deadline is looming, and can't get here soon enough.
Nick Morrow played more snaps yesterday than he had in the previous few games. What did you see from him and also from Kabinda in his debut?
Yeah, I thought Morrow, he had a couple issues with his underneath coverage. We expect him to tighten up. He's a run and hit linebacker. He needs to play. That's another group, another position that we haven't had much fluidity or too much fluidity. I try to stay away from four-syllable words, but I thought he did some good things. Kabinda played in the middle, didn't play a whole lot, but got his eyes open, and that was good. Hopefully you'll see more and more of those two guys here in the next few games.
What's your confidence level in Martavis Bryant right now?
I'm confident in him. I'm confident in Seth Roberts, too. I'm confident in LaFell. I'm confident in Jordy Nelson. I'm confident in all our receivers. You know, it's hard to get everybody out there when you only have 47 or 48 plays. It's pretty hard.
I guess it was your dad that called Mike Holmgren and said, hey, would you consider having my son come and work for the 49ers? What did you take away from the time you worked there?
Well, the 49er experience, you brought up a lot of young coaches, you know, McVay and my brother and Kyle, and we modeled my whole philosophy after Bill Walsh and Mike Holmgren and the 49er experience. We tried to duplicate it in Green Bay. We tried to practice the same way. We tried to prepare our game plans and coach the quarterback and handle training camp and travel the same way. We tried to copy it to a T. So they were always on the cutting edge. Eddie DeBartolo was the man. You know, everything they did was better and bigger than everybody else. And I think they set the bar very high for every team in the league, and I think they were copied and emulated by just about everybody.
Is there any chance at all that Marshawn could return this season, or in your guys' minds, was that a season-ending groin situation?
Yeah, I don't know. I would say it'd be very difficult, but I'm never going to shut the door, with a guy like that. We've got a number of players. We've already talked about Ellis, Donald Penn. We'll see what happens with how fast they heal.
John, the play where Fadal Brown made the tackle for loss and was flagged for roughness, what specifically was that for, do you know?
Yeah, I didn't like that. They said they blew the whistle. I didn't hear a whistle. I thought it was a big play. We have been hurt by the jet sweep all season long. We practiced it. We made a big deal about it. And but Fadal Brown caught that flight. He caught that jet. And unfortunately, that also hurt us. So I was unhappy with that quick whistle personally, but what can I do?